Hi, this is Rena Jada for Vader News. On today's segment of Lessons Learned, we're talking about how to build a successful business targeted at the long tail. And our guest expert today is Adam Boyden, president of Conduit. Adam, welcome to the show.
Rena, it's great to be here. Thank you for asking me.
So businesses like Netflix, eBay, Amazon have done a brilliant job of building large revenue streams on the long tail. Tell me a little bit about how Conduit's doing that, a little bit about how many customers you have that are long tail, and perhaps some cool long tail customers.
Sure. So the companies that you talk about and Conduit, I think the key common theme is that we all focused on trying to find a big problem faced by large numbers of customers, and then built a solution which was very, very customer focused and easy to deploy and use. So in Conduit's case, we are aimed at internet publishers of all types. We have more than 200,000 active publishers around the world.
Wow.
And that is growing very quickly. And what we focus on is helping them build a better relationship between themselves, their content, their functionality, and their end users. And to your question about examples, we've got people from East Normal University in Nanjing, to libraries in Europe, to the LA Gangs toolbar.
LA Gangs, huh?
LA Gangs find out the latest between the Bloods and the Crips.
Oh my.
And Buy Sell Cows, which is a great community, people who buy and sell cows.
Cows.
Cows. And,
not pigs, cows.
Not pigs, cows. And then through all sorts of normal things around soccer teams, soccer fans, schools, any sorts of micro communities to larger communities that you can think of.
What's required to have a successful long-tail business?
I think that the key is to really understand the needs of the market and what your customers are looking for. It has to be a really big issue that you are trying to solve. Mm-hmm. And then when you've found that issue, the problem, the challenge, you then have to design a product or a service which is very, very easy to understand and very easy to use and implement. And in our case, it's very much designed so that you can build the solution in literally 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. When you do that, and then you also focus on building the product so that consumers and, in our case, publishers know and can show off to other publishers about what they are doing, you can then actually start building scale. The key is that if you are doing a Me Too, it's very, very hard, I think, to do the long tail. You've got to really come at it with a unique proposition which solves a big problem.
And how important would you say is viral marketing for scaling?
I think people often don't really understand what viral marketing is. In our case, our platform is inherently not that viral. There's no particular need to invite all your friends. Mm-hmm. But what we did do was that, first of all, in our case, the publishers started obviously deploying this to their end users, and these end users then were often publishers themselves, and then they saw, wow, this is a cool implementation, a solution, and they then discovered what was available. The second aspect was that we spent a lot of time designing the product such that we gave all the marketing tools to our publishers to better tell their story and the particular solution. But in the end, I think the thing that always drives these types of long-tail businesses is that you are solving a key fundamental issue, a fundamental problem, and you make it very easy to use, and you make it stable and reliable, and things will happen.
One of the things that I struggle with is the cost-effective acquisition of a large number of customers that are going to buy a very little product, which is by definition what long tail is. Talk a little bit about customer acquisition, cost of acquisition, and scaling.
So it's a great question. Again, huge generality. I think the key thing is that if you before you've launched a business like this, and you sit down and you start thinking through what is going to be the cost for acquiring a customer, you've got it wrong. The way I look at it is that good long-tail businesses inherently are pretty much fixed-cost businesses. You are building a platform which delivers a service, and whether you have one customer or 200,000 customers is entirely irrelevant from having the platform. The key from the business standpoint is making sure that you design the platform, the product, the service sufficiently well that the customer base can bring themselves to you. If you have a business where you have to sit down and say, I need to spend X dollars, X cents to acquire a customer by buying search ads or other advertising, I think you've got it wrong. I think the advertising and the marketing, certainly with long-tail businesses at the beginning, are more business development driven. And business development, I think, is a more powerful mechanism to get the marketing by partnering with other entities who have relationships with your potential user base. And the two parties basically scratch each other's backs.
So tell us a little bit about the pitfalls in going after this market.
Well, obviously, the big pitfall is that you get the service wrong. You think people want this to be sold, and they don't really. That's a big issue. The technology issue is that people can get carried away. They start thinking to themselves, gosh, if we have these other 47 different features, then we will have the perfect solution. I think in the end that's not really the case. The key is that you are solving in the end one key thing, maybe two, and you focus everything on doing a really good job with that. And so focus on the execution, understanding what business you're in. Is really key. That's
a challenge most startups face.
Absolutely. I always remember my father. He told me once. He said, asked me, what business is Parker Pens, the fancy fountain? And so I, of course, being young and stupid, said pens. And he said, no, they're in the gift business. Yes. That's the key thing I think startups have to think through all the time, because otherwise you get distracted by the shiny new thing or what the competition is doing.
And schizophrenia, amnesia, yep. You're one model today, another model tomorrow.
Exactly.
That definitely happens. Last question.
Sure.
Give us some secrets to our viewers on pursuing the long-tail business.
So I wish I had the magic ingredients, but I think the key is, one, fully understand the challenge that you're going to solve. Make sure that it really is a huge problem for your customer base. Throughout whichever market you're aiming for. Try to make it international if you can. I think one of the mistakes made by a lot of certainly US Silicon Valley type entrepreneurs is that they just focus on the US. And I think that's a mistake. If you can make it very easily transferable to international markets, which is certainly what we have done, then that's very, very powerful. Third is to make the technology exceptionally easy to understand and use. If it's a complex sale or solution that you're providing, you're in deep trouble. The other piece is don't get distracted. Start off doing one thing, do it really well. When you dominate the universe, then you can think about expanding into other things, because otherwise most companies don't have infinite capital, particularly today, and you cannot do everything. And another thought is that on the marketing side, there are obviously the basics you have to do with SEO and SEM and so on, but don't think that is overarching from the quality of the product and also business development. I have seen business development have a huge impact to the understanding, positioning and growth of these businesses.
Well, I certainly feel a lot smarter. Adam, thank you so much for being on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This is Rena Jada for Vader News. Thanks for watching.